and welcome to another Hayley-Roxanna crafts video. This is another one of my videos about crocheting, and in this video I am going to demonstrate the half treble and treble crochet stitches, which in US terms are the half double crochet and double crochet stitches. But before I do that, I'm going to share with you some information about how I hold my hook and yarn, as this was something that I was asked about in my last video. Okay, so firstly, I will show you how I hold my hook. I'm right-handed, so I hold my hook in my right hand crochet. If you are left-handed, you may actually find it more comfortable to hold your hook in your left hand. The only real difference between whether you hold it in your right and your left hand is the direction in which you're going to crochet. So if you are right-handed, you will crochet from right to left, but if you've got the hook in your left hand, you will crochet from left to right. I hold my hook sort of like you hold a pen. It's actually known as the pen grip, like so, but some people prefer to hold it above like that, so in like a knife grip. It's like how you'd hold a knife, but it is just finding what's comfortable for you. If what you're doing doesn't feel comfortable, go and look up other ways until you find what does work for you. Holding my yarn, I pop the yarn just between my little finger and my ring finger like so, and like wrap it round my little finger, and then I'll take it under the ring finger and middle finger and over my index finger. I find doing this helps me with keeping my tension even. I can sort of control the yarn with the middle finger and index finger like so, and having it wrapped around my little finger keeps the tension on it quite even. But this isn't the only way you can hold your yarn. Again, it is finding what works for you and what's comfortable for you. So again, if what you're doing isn't working for you, go and look up different ways till you find something that does. I have even seen people who will hold their yarn and their hook in the same hand when they're crocheting. So that's another option. And if you're somebody who doesn't like the feeling of the yarn between your fingers, you can actually get like rings that you can pop the yarn, sort of wind the yarn through, to help with keeping that tension, but without having to feel the yarn between your fingers as such. So yeah, just find what works for you for holding your hook in your yarn and go with it. So using the piece I crocheted in my last video when demonstrating the double crochet in UK terms or single crochet in US terms, I'm now going to show you the half treble stitch, which in US terms is known as a half double crochet. So in UK patterns, the half treble crochet stitch is abbreviated to HTR. And in US patterns, the half double crochet is abbreviated to HDC. When you are starting a half treble at the start of a row, you've actually got a couple of options. Some people will do 2 chains and then miss the first stitch. But personally, the way I prefer to do it is I will do a single chain, so just 1 chain, and then I will work my first half treble into that first stitch. The main difference between the half treble and double crochets is that before you actually put the hook through the V of the stitch on the previous row, you actually need to put your yarn over your hook. So like so, so you do a yarn over. Okay, you then pop the hook through that V of your stitch on the previous row. You will then need to do a yarn over again and pull the yarn through like so. So you've now got 3 loops on your hook. Then you will do another yarn over and you will just pull through all 3 loops. You want to make sure you don't make those loops too tight on your hook so that you can't get your hook through, but you don't want them too loose either, because then your stitch will end up too loose. Okay, so I will show that again. So yarn over into the V of the stitch on the previous row, yarn over and pull through. So you've got the 3 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. Okay, one more time, yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on the hook. Okay, just like with your double crochet, this stitch can also be worked just into the front loop or the back loop of your V for a different effect. It can sort of give like a ribbing effect. But with the half treble, you do also get like a 3rd loop on the back of your work. You can see just there. So you've got loop there, and then a 3rd one just there. And you can actually do stitches just into that 3rd loop, again for a different effect. But it's just down to following your pattern to see what they want you to do, but that's what they'd mean by a 3rd loop. Okay, so I can just finish this row of half trebles or half double crochets, depending on whether you're working in US or UK terms, like so. Okay, remember, don't pull it too tight around your hook, but don't have it too loose. You want it to just sit comfortably around the width of that hook to keep the right tension and keep your work the right size to what you are aiming for. There we go. So that's a row of your half trebles or half double crochets if you're using the American terms. So I'll now show you a treble crochet if you're using the UK terms, or in US terms this is actually a double crochet. So you can see why it's important that you know whether the pattern you're following has been written in UK or US terms, as a double crochet in UK terms is very different to the double crochet in US terms, as it's equivalent to a treble crochet in UK terms. On UK patterns, a treble crochet would be abbreviated to TR, and in US patterns, the double crochet is abbreviated to DC. Okay, so again, if you are doing treble crochets from the start of a row, how you start the row can vary. It can depend on the pattern, but also your personal preference. So some people will do 3 chains, and then they will miss the first of the V's, the stitches from the previous row, and start on the second one. So sort of the 3 chains act as the first treble crochet. What I personally prefer to do and what I find gives me a neater edge is if I just do a single chain, so 1 chain again, and then do my first treble into that first V, that first stitch. So like with the half treble, you will do a yarn over hook before you insert into the stitch on the previous row. You will then do a yarn over again and pull through your yarn, so you have got the 3 loops on your hook just like with the half treble. But then this is where it differs. So you will do a yarn over again, but this time we're just going to pull through the first 2 of the loops on the hook, like so. And then you will do another yarn over and pull through the remaining 2. Okay, so we'll do that again. So you've got yarn over, insert the hook into the V on the previous row, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2. Okay, so you can see that you end up with a taller stitch than what you've got from the previous stitches that you've done before. Okay, so we'll do it again. So you've got yarn over and insert the hook into that V, yarn over and pull through, yarn over and pull through the first 2 loops on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through the remaining 2. Okay, like so. So that can just be continued till you've got the number of trebles that you want. Just like with all the other stitches, you can work these just into the front loops of the V. Okay, so just into the front one there, or just into the back one, to give you different effects. There is also another option with the treble crochet, which is you can actually work them around the post that's like formed with the stitch, so you call that a post. And you can do them so you work around that post, so you can either insert from the front and then through the back, or from the back through to the front. But this is something that I will demonstrate in a separate video, as I think it does warrant its own video for that. So I will just finish off my row of treble crochets, just like so. Again, remember my top tip for helping you remember where the first and last stitch of your rows are, just by putting a stitch marker in, especially when you first start crocheting. But even when you're more experienced, you can still get confused, especially if you're sort of talking while crocheting, you can forget where you're at. So using those stitch markers can help you. But there we go. There's a whole row of treble crochets. So that's your half treble and treble crochet stitches if you are using UK terms, or the half double and double crochet stitches if you are using US terms. In my next video, I will show you what the treble crochet looks like if you are using US terms, which in UK terms is known as a double treble crochet stitch. If you've got any questions, please feel free to pop them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer them for you. I've put links to items I have used in this video in my description. And that's everything. So thank you for watching and I hope to see you next time. Bye!